welcome back to Archery Adventures. Today's video is just going to be with me. If you're new to this channel, my name is Jade-Marie and my daughter has an incurable heart condition called hypoplastic left heart syndrome, and she is about to turn 10. So if you are a regular on our channel, we haven't posted in a few weeks and I do apologise. We had a really fun video planned, but then life kind of got in the way instead. So unfortunately, not the happiest video to get back into. But this channel is about raising awareness, so I did want to talk about this and sort of get it off my chest. So yeah, let's just get into it again. Last Monday, Dawn-louise started to show signs of struggling with her energy. Now this isn't the same as like when a healthy person has a day that they're tired. Dawn-louise's energy is fully tied to her heart. She starts the day with half the energy of most people. So when that energy is even lower, we know that something isn't right. But I can't rush her straight off to the hospital just for one day. We have to keep an eye on multiple symptoms. That isn't enough for just the one symptom on its own for us to take her in. So everything was sort of going the same every day. She was struggling. She had dance with a teacher who's known her a few years now on the Wednesday, and she said she tried really hard, but you could see she was struggling. Bearing in mind her lesson was only started just after school. So, and she had had a really chill day at school. It was all sat down work, it wasn't PE or anything. Normally she can handle doing her class. It's only modern and tap, so it's not really vigorous dancing or anything. So for the teacher to be like, you know, she is struggling today, we knew that something definitely wasn't right. But nothing else had shown up yet. So we went to school Thursday and I expressed again to the teacher that I was concerned. I was quite worried that her health, something was going on, whether it was going to be an infection or something, and to just keep a really close eye on her, please. And I get a call at lunchtime, and her saturations had dropped down to 72% and she wasn't looking great. So I rushed up to school, and I actually was quite worried and quite concerned, because not only when I got there was I, you know, prepared for something to happen, it wasn't so great. When I got to the school, she wasn't in the first aid room like she normally is. She was still in her class, so it took them about, I'd say, 5 minutes max to bring her around to the office. But that 5 minutes felt like an eternity for me, because I needed to see her. I needed to know that she was okay, and it really freaked me out not being able to see her straight away like I normally would when we know that oxygen problems are arising. And the reason that she was in her classroom and not in the first aid room is because it was already break time and they were trying to keep her calm. But for me, that didn't really do many favours, but I'm glad that she, you know, was calm at least. So I get into the first aid room and she's quite alert, so I'm not concerned that she needs an ambulance right away, but she's looking a little bit more cyanosed, more blue than usual, and she also looked really tired. In her eyes, it's hard to explain it, but I could just see in her eyes something wasn't right and that she was not feeling well. So I went to check her saturations and the saturation machine would not pick up on her hand. So we tried the other hand, it wouldn't pick up. I took her shoes off and tried it on her toes, and neither of those picked up either. So I tested it on myself and it came up immediately. So we know that it's not a machine fault and that something in her body is not allowing this to register. The biggest concern I have is when it doesn't pick up, that could be a pulse problem, and then it directly leads to the heart, obviously. So I knew that something wasn't right. And then I asked her if she could take off her jumper, and that's when I realised that her entire arm was mottled. So I took the cardigan off, both of her arms were mottled, and then I checked her legs and they were mottled as well. She has not had mottling since she was a baby, so I knew that this was something not well with her, because it's not like a normal side effect for her. So I knew that we were going to have to go to the hospital, which broke my heart, because the TA was in the room with us and she kept saying how Dawn-louise didn't want to leave school, she didn't want to have to go home. And I was like, great, because that's what I've got to tell her, you know, I've got to tell her that we have to go home. And I think that's one of the hardest parts about having a child with a serious illness like this, is that you always have to be the bad guy. You always have to, you know, sort of ruin their day. You always have to be the one that goes, no, we need to go to hospital, I'm sorry. You know, I know that you want to be at school, but we have to go. You know, there's no choice in the matter when it's something as serious as her heart, because obviously we can't see her heart. So until we get to hospital, we don't know what's going on. There's no way for me to see what's going on unless it's an oxygen or a heart rate issue. So because Dawn-louise was quite conscious. She was able to walk still. I decided not to panic her by getting an ambulance, but to take the bus. It actually takes the same amount of time for us to get to hospital on a bus that it does for an ambulance to get to us. And obviously if I needed to, I could always get off the bus and call an ambulance. But I have been in an ambulance with her a lot, and I really didn't feel like this was a situation that we needed one. So we got on the bus and I kept an eye on her SATS machine. It can run continuously, so I can leave it on her and know if things are going wrong, and it still wouldn't pick up. So I'd just keep a really close visual eye on what her cyanosis was doing. Her hands were really cold as well, which is a circulation issue. So that was a concern as well. So we got to the hospital and I immediately panicked because, well, not visibly, thankfully I've got good at hiding it, but in my head I was worried because when we got there was this massive queue to get into the ward because somebody was having a problem with the appointment letter that they had. So I had to go and get a security guard and be like, look, I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to ask this, but there was a massive queue. My daughter needs medical attention. She has a yellow card. We need to get through to the CAU unit as soon as possible. And there was like a good few families waiting with letters and stuff, so that I knew that it would take a while for us to get in if I just queued up. And thankfully he was able to take us through. He had to escort us all the way around, so I'm really glad that he was able to do that for us, or it would have been a very stressful situation because I could not get a read on Dawn-louise. I would not have wanted something to happen around that many people because it's very hard to handle a medical situation when everyone else is asking what's going on, so especially other parents that might not know a child like Dawn-louise. So we get to the CAU unit, and the lady at reception was like, go and take a seat. And the waiting room was packed with children. They were all coughing. It's still cold and flu season. I can't risk her catching something and lessening her oxygen again. So I said, you know, can we use the side room? She was like, well, unless there's a reason to, no, you can just go sit down. And I'm like, but there is a reason to. And I was trying to explain and she just wasn't listening. And then in the end, she kind of got sick of me, I think, and let me go into the side room. She said, if somebody needs it, you're gonna have to get out. And I was like, that's fine. And thankfully our nurse came along straight away, so we weren't in there very long anyway. Her saturations were picked up and they were 81, so that was perfect for her. And at this point she was looking a little bit better as well. And the mottling had started to go down, so we knew that something had happened, but it was getting better already, so the panic had sort of died down a little bit. She had her height and weight checked, and then we get taken around to a bay because the nurse agrees it wasn't safe for her to be in the waiting room, so she takes us straight to a bay and to a bed, so that we were unfortunately in a room with other children, but they weren't touching our area, so it was safer for Dawn-louise. So we sit down and they say the doctor will be around in a minute, and they found out that Dawn-louise's cardiologist was actually on the ward today, so instead of getting a doctor, they got her cardiologist. And before even making an introduction with us, you know, I don't mean an introduction like, hi, my name is, because obviously we've known him since she was 6 months old. But I mean, like, he didn't come in and like ask what was going on. He came straight round with the echo machine. An echocardiogram is a scan of the heart. It's a bit like what they use when women are pregnant, when they sonograph, except this is for the heart and done by a cardiologist only. So the fact that he'd come around with that machine, I knew that something was not right and that he had serious concerns. Because this is the first time we've ever had them come straight round with the machines. Normally they come and have a chat first. So he comes round and he gets the ECG done by one of the nurses. An ECG is an electrocardiogram and it checks the heart's rhythms. And then he came around and did the echo, and he was paying a lot of attention to the way that the blood was moving to her lungs, and it all looked good. And he said, before I say that the heart looks good, I want to go back and check it with her last echo from her normal appointments. She has them every 6 months, so the last one was in September. And then he came back and he'd actually checked it against that one and the one from the previous February as well, not February last month, but the one before. And it all looked good. But the mottling was quite a concern. So he said that there is a chance that what caused it is a heart rhythm problem. If that is the case, she is at risk of collapse and she may have to go down the route of a pacemaker. Now, we kind of always knew that it was a possibility because other heart children have had pacemakers, but for Dawn-louise specifically, it had never been mentioned before. So this was a huge, huge shock, and definitely not where I thought that visit was going to go. I just thought we were going to go there and they were going to say, yeah, she's got a chest infection or a viral infection, antibiotics, oxygen, possibly. I was not expecting them to say that she might need a pacemaker. Now, pacemakers are done quite often, but they are still a serious surgery. It's still open heart surgery to get it in there. It is a very risky procedure. It has, you know, risk of hemorrhaging, strokes, brain damage, all the same things that she had with her previous surgeries. And so even though if we do have to go down that route, you know, there's something that can be done, it's still scary because surgeries like that can change someone's life. If she suffers from brain damage, she might not be the same person she is today ever again. So it's definitely not what we wanted to hear. But I'm not panicking yet because I'm kind of hoping that it's all just going to turn out to be nothing and it was just a fluke. But with kids like Dawn-louise, we have to be realistic and prepare for the worst thing that can happen. My sort of motto and how I've sort of coped with this whole journey is to plan for the worst, hope for the best, because I find that when I let that guard down, I'm like, no, she's going to be fine. She's going to live to adulthood. It's all going to be fantastic. You know, medicine's improving. Something always goes wrong. And then it hurts so much more than if you're sort of, at least it's somewhat expecting what's going to happen. So that's my motto. That's what I live by. It might not be the most, you know, amazing motto for most people, but for me, it's really helped me cope. So I didn't panic in front of Dawn-louise. It was a shock, but I'm not panicking, which is good. So they said that they want to do a full range of bloods to check for any infections, liver, kidney, anything else that could relate to her losing her energy because it now lasted 4 days. And she had a cannula put in to get these bloods, and bless her, she cried her little heart out. She hated it. It's quite scary for her, I think. I think it's more the fear of it than the pain, because she has sat there and watched them be put in at times. I think we actually vlogged the time that happened. Not it going in, but talking about how that went down sort of thing. But yeah, she wasn't happy with it. And then we had to wait 4 hours for the results. And some of them still hadn't come back, but they did let us go because most of them had no sign of infection. So that is good. So the plan now is that on the 16th of March, Dawn-louise will have a 24-hour ECG tape fitted. She's had one of these in the past, but never for rhythm problems. It was just to make sure that she was safe to go ahead with her surgery. So we haven't had one since 2014 when she was 4. And it's just a little device and a load of stickers and wires. So she'll go to school after the hospital on Monday, after having it fitted. She needs to go about her daily life so we can see what her heart copes with. And if any rhythm problems do show up, and then the next morning it will get taken off. We'll probably vlog the experience, because if it helps other heart families or other people that end up with it, then I would like to be able to help them, obviously. So we are going to vlog it. And I like looking back at how far she's come. It helps me to prepare for anything in the future, to be like, she's already come this far. It gives me a little bit of hope. So we are going to share that, as long as obviously Dawn-louise is comfortable with it. If not, it'll be another video of me just sat down talking about it like this. I don't want to talk about this video in front of her because I don't want her to panic, so that's why it's just me. But she was really brave, bless her. She was really, really brave the whole time, and it's scary for the both of us, but she does handle it incredibly well. But we did end up not getting home till 9 o'clock. We got there about 11:30, 12, somewhere between there, and we didn't get home till 9 o'clock. We weren't discharged till just gone 8, and then we had to get home. So it was a long day. So on the Friday, because she'd already had energy struggles, we did end up staying home from school, and she rested all weekend. So our weekend's been good, but she hasn't done anything. So it's not really a clear-cut sign of, okay, we're out the woods now. So hopefully the rest of the week goes well. She was supposed to do bikeability, which is bike training basically to go on the roads and everything. Unfortunately, she's not been able to do that now. So it's another thing that CHD has stole from us. But you know, we're going to try and figure out a way to do it outside of school so that she's got proper educated lessons around bike safety, because I do think that's a really important thing for her, and I am really upset that she's had to miss out on it, to be honest. But that's that. So yeah, our stress level was a little bit higher, but nothing too huge just yet. You know, I'm really hoping that it turns out to be nothing. Because it was only 4 days, but you never know with kids like Dawn-louise, so we have to be careful. But on the brighter side, it is finally March, and we have so much to look forward to this month. We're going to our first ever single ventricle convention. It's a charity for single ventricle kids and their families. The parents and the kids are split up into their age groups. So Dawn-louise will get to meet others with similar conditions to hers and her own condition. There's going to be an animal experience, and she loves animals, so she's going to love that. Her other heart friend is going, and she'll get to meet new heart friends. We're going to a city that we've never been to before, staying for the weekend. We're going to make it a little holiday. So it should be really, really lovely, and I am looking forward to that a lot. And then we've got Animal Crossing coming out, which we're really excited for because we're big Animal Crossing fans, and we'll get to play it together for the first time, so that's going to be really fun. And then we've got Dawn-louise's birthday party, and her birthday, she's turning 10, which is such a huge milestone for us. Dawn-louise was told, whilst I was pregnant, I was told that Dawn-louise had a 20% chance of living her first week of life, and then after her first 3 surgeries, there was complications, so they said she might not make it past 1, and then when she made it past 1, it was she might make it past 5, and then after she had her last surgery, they said that she's got a 14-year age life expectancy. So, you know, it's a little scary, her getting older, but it's also amazing because she's come so far and she's still here, and that's all I can really ask for, is that she's, you know, she's here and she's surviving and she's thriving whilst doing so. And, you know, for the most part, she's happy, and that's all you can really ask for. So yeah, I'm sorry this is quite an emotional video, but I wanted to get this out and I wanted to talk about it before we go in and actually go through the process of getting the 24-hour tape, and to let you know why we've sort of not been around for a few weeks now. And I'm sorry, I'm not making eye contact. It's because I'm trying not to cry. This is my first time. Well, no, it's not. I had to speak to a teacher this morning, so this is my second time within like an hour having to say these words out loud from my own mouth and get my feelings out, so I'm still a bit touchy, but I'll be okay. You know, as long as Dawn's okay, I'm okay. I'm just a bit worried because obviously I have to leave her with somebody else. I have to leave her with somebody else who's only known her 6 months. I have to leave her with friends who, you know, sometimes it's a bit hard for her because they're all, you know, normal, healthy children. They're not disabled, so it's a little bit hard for her going to a mainstream school, and it makes it harder for me because I don't want her to feel like she's different, like she's left out or anything. But she loves school, so that's handy. So yeah, we've got lots to and we're going on a small holiday at the end of the month with another heart family, so I'm super excited for that as well. So lots of heart stuff going on this month, good and bad, and there's just lots to look forward to. So I'm not going to focus too much on the pacemaker probability or the ECG tape right now. I want to focus on the fact that in 21 days, my daughter's going to be 10, and that is a huge thing for me, and I'm super excited. So yeah, but I wanted to at least let you guys know what's going on. And if you do want to keep up to date with us when we can't post on YouTube, you can follow us on Instagram at Dawn-louise_HLHS, and we post stories and stuff from there when we are in hospital, if you want to keep up with that. But we will see you in the next video. The next video is going to be after next weekend, because that's when we're doing some big things, so stay tuned for that. But it might be a little bit quiet throughout the month, but we've got lots to film in March. We've got lots of good stuff coming, so stay tuned, and we will see you soon.
Everybody gives you advice, yeah, on how to live your life, how to live your life. Don't you know that life is full of surprises? You better realize